So if I were to press T to bring up my tool shelf here, and I click this Shape Tools button to expand the menu. So I can use any object, so any model that you've been working on, or just any generic shape or something. So we could say grab a cylinder out of here and press S to scale here. And if I wanted to cut this cylinder out of this cube, I don't have to click on the cube, I don't have to click on anything. Just with the cylinder selected, I press cut out, and it will cut a hole into whatever object it's closest to. We can then move this around, so I could press G to grab and move it. I could hold my middle mouse button to constrain the axis that it's moving on, or hold down the control key to snap the movement to the grid here. So once I've used one of these tools, I can then duplicate this object. I could press D, then hold middle mouse to constrain, and it will behave as the object that it was duplicated from. I could shift select both of these, press S to scale, G to grab, move this up, and pretty much wherever I move these, they will continue to cut out the object. So we can add objects the standard way of pressing Shift A and under Mesh, selecting an object to add. But we also have this convenient little set of shapes we can just quickly click on to work with whatever we're doing. So say I were to click this cone object here, I could move this over and I could press cut out here, and you'll see this cuts out of the shape as well. I can also at any time change the tool being used on any of these objects. So if I wanted to say change this cone from cutting stuff out to intersecting, I could press intersect, and now we see that the cone intersects the other objects. So when we say intersect, basically what we mean is the object that is doing the intersecting will be used sort of like a cast, sort of like a mold, and whatever volume is inside of it will fill up the area where it moves, if that makes any sense. So I'll switch this one back to cutout here, maybe press S to scale, G to grab, and just have it down here like this. So I could click on this object up here, which is a cylinder because it's cutting out that cylinder shape here, and change that from cut out to combine. And when I do that, it appears as though nothing has really happened. But what the combine does is it molds all the objects that are touching together into one hollow shape. So now if we actually go inside of this mesh, you'll notice that where there would be the side of this cube here, this face going up here, and then the top of it there, it has been removed and is forming kind of like one hollow shell. So if we were to press apply, which will finish up all these tools on this object and make it one solid mesh, we'll see that this becomes just a part of the mesh, and anything inside of it gets removed. So that's what we use combine for. So the object that we started doing stuff to was this default cube here. And until we press apply, we couldn't say double right click over here, add some other shape, and then start cutting away stuff from this new shape. We have to finish up what we're doing with our first object first. So I'll press X to delete that. So whenever we've got everything situated in the way we want, say we're, I don't know, who knows what we could be making here, but say whatever we're working on here, if we're finished, if we decide, okay, yeah, that looks like the way I want it to look, we press apply, and all the changes we made to the cube are now permanent. So if we press tab to go into edit mode, we now have this one solid mesh object here from all the operations we're doing. So I'll press tab to go back into object mode. Okay, so now that you got the basic idea, let's build something. So I'm going to press X to delete that and click this cylinder. And I'm going to go ahead and press my full screen button here. And I'm going to press Shift C, which moves my 3D cursor back to the center of the grid, and press this button, which moves whatever you have selected to where the 3D cursor is. I'm just going to press D to duplicate this cylinder and then move it up a little and press S to scale and then press cut out, and of course it will cut out whatever is closest to it. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply that, and I'm going to add a cube, G to grab, middle mouse constrain, S to scale. And what I'm going to do is make kind of like an old medieval tower here. So I want to make the top, I wish I could remember what they were called. Not kerning. I can't remember. But the top rook looking things. Anyway, so we'll press cut out here and press 5 to go into top view. And so to make it a little easier to work with, so I can see things better when I'm in orthographic views like this, I'm going to change the shading to ambient occlusion. Now when we add ambient occlusion from this menu in the property shelf here, it doesn't make it to where this ambient occlusion will show up if we render. It's just for working in the 3D view, exactly for situations like this. So I'll close that up. And what I'm going to do is press D to duplicate this cube here, and then right click to cancel the movement part of that duplication. Press R to rotate, and then hold Control to constrain the angle of this rotation. And I'm going to shift select both of these, press D again, and then right click, which snaps that new duplicated objects exactly back to the location where they were. Press R to rotate, hold Control to constrain the rotation. And I just want to make these even cuts along here. So we've got something like this. Cool. Now I'll press Apply to apply all those. So if we were to press Tab to go into edit mode, we can see that this is what the object looks like now. Actually, I do need to be in edit mode, so I'm going to go back there, press space for face selection, G to grab, middle mouse to constrain, E to extrude here, S to scale this, E to extrude that down a bit, E to extrude, S to scale, E to extrude. Okay, that looks pretty cool. Press Tab to go back into object mode, G to grab, middle mouse to constrain, get this setting up here. Now I'm going to press 1 to go in front view, and I'm going to click on the cylinder button to add a cylinder button. Of course, it would have been the same thing if I just press Shift A and under Mesh and add that, just an easier way to get to those while we're doing shape tools type stuff. And then before I press G or move this new object I added, I want to double tap space and select Align to View, and this will change the orientation of the object to face towards the user basically. Of course, you can double tap space to get to that menu, or you can click this operator menu down here if you prefer to have that open. So now I'm going to press G to grab and move this over here. Tab to go into edit mode, shift scroll down for vertex selection, then Z to go into wireframe mode, B to do a border select, and I want to select half of these vertex points. I don't want to select the actual dividing line of vertex points because that will cause too much of it to get erased. So press X to delete it, so I just have half of these here. Then shift scroll up for edge selection, and then I'll shift select these two edges here, press E to extrude, middle mouse to constrain, and I just want to bring this down a little bit. What I'm going to do is make a window. So let's press Z to go back into solid viewport shading, F to connect these two lines here. Now I'm going to alt select this loop of edges here, and press F to put a face there. Alt select this loop of edges here, press F to put a face there, tab to go back into object mode, G to grab, middle mouse to constrain, and I'm just going to scale this down, and then press S to scale again, but this time middle mouse to constrain and pull it out along that Y-axis. And I know it's the Y-axis because my little gizmo thing here says, hey, this is the Y direction, and that's similar to the direction that this is. Alright, so I'm going to press G to grab and scale this up a little bit. Now I want this to cut out of here, so all I do is press cut out. Now there are some occasions if you have a lot of objects in your scene that are touching the object you want to do stuff to, that might get confused. If that's ever the case, then you can just select the object that you want to use the tool on, like this little shape thing we made here, and then shift select the object that you want affected, like this tower, and then press it. But 99% of the time, you'll just be able to click on the object you want to affect something and just press the button and it will just work. So let's press 1 to go into front view, and I'm going to try to line this up something like this. That's pretty good. We can go ahead and press apply there, and I think I'm going to add another cylinder shape, G to grab, middle mouse to constrain, and make it cut out too, and press G to grab, and S to scale, and then S to scale, middle mouse to constrain. I just want it coming down a little bit inside so there's like a room in here. And probably not show that hole up in the top, but we'll bring that down like this. Of course, you could do whatever you want. I just want a little bit of the inference of a room in here. All right, cool. Okay, so I'll press apply on that. I'm going to go ahead and press Shift A and under Mesh add a plane. So we've got something like a ground. Just scale that out quite a bit. Maybe go ahead and scale this up to be a bit bigger too. Let's add a cube here. And we're going to go ahead and make a wall. So I'm going to add a cube like this. Tab to go into edit mode. Press space for face selection, G to grab, and grab that up to like here, I guess. S to scale, middle mouse to constrain. Make it a bit longer. Well, maybe a little bit longer than that. Okay. So now I'm going to add another cube, G to grab, middle mouse to constrain here, and I'm press S to scale. And what I want to do is make some similar cuts like I did up top here. So I'm going to press G to grab and start this at about right here. Then I'm going to press Shift D, which adds an array modifier. And I lucked out in that the direction of the array is going in the direction I wanted. So if I keep pressing Shift D, this will increase the count of this array. But say I wanted this to have gone straight down or straight up or something. If you want to quickly change the direction of your array modifier you just add, you can press Alt-Shift-D until the array goes in the direction that you want it to. So if I press my full screen button over here, here's this object's array modifier that the Shift-D added. And we want to increase the distance between these a little bit. And go ahead and press Shift-D a few more times. And I'll press G to grab the whole thing and middle mouse to constrain and move it over some. And press 1 to go into front view. Suppose I should go ahead and duplicate this tower so I know the distance that I want here. And so we've got that about like that. Maybe bring that down just a little bit. And so to get this to cut out, all I do is press cut out. Here was the instance that I was talking about where this occasionally might not work. So what happened was, is this object was actually closer to the origin point of this tower over here. So if I press G to grab, you can see it's actually cutting out of that, which is not what we want. So I'm going to press Control Z and undo all that. So this time, to make sure it cuts out of the object that we want it to, in these rare occasions where it won't, we just want to select the object that we want to do the cutting or whatever of these things, then shift select the object we want affected, then press cut out, and that will make sure that that gets rolling for us. So we got something like this. We could go ahead and press apply here. Then I'm going to duplicate the wall itself and press cut out and scale that down some, just because this is a nice cool kind of a little touch here. And press D to duplicate it and recreate that effect on the other side as well. Sweet. Maybe even duplicate it one more time. Bring this up here. S to scale these. G to grab, pull this up some. Now we've got even more dimension here, which is really cool. So let's press apply to apply all these. Let's go ahead and make a front entrance to this little tower thing. And to do that, we'll do the same thing we did to create these windows. Press 1 to go into front view. I'm going to go ahead and press my full screen button here also. Press my cylinder button to add a cylinder. Double tap space for my operator menu. Press align to view. G to grab, middle mouse to constrain. Scale this up a bit. Tab to go into edit mode. Shift scroll down for vertex selection. Let's press Z to go into wireframe, and then B to do a border select. X to delete all those. Shift scroll up for edge selection. And then shift select these two edges, E to extrude, middle mouse to constrain. Press F to complete that face. Z to go back into solid viewport shading. And then we just want to alt select this loop of faces here. Press F to fill in a face. Then alt select this loop of faces back here. Press F to fill in a face. Tab to go into object mode. 1 to go into front view. G to grab. Scale this down a bit. And then just press cut out. And that will cut out into this wall here. So I could bring that all the way down, but it kind of looks cool like that. So I think I'll do like that. And then what I'm going to do is press D to duplicate this, then right click to let the new duplicated object go snap back to where it was duplicated from. S to scale, middle mouse to constrain. Now I'm going to scale it in here, and this is just, giving us more dimension into our little castle thing here, which is cool. Just a nice little design touch. Let's go ahead and apply those. Let's add a cube, one to go in front view, and I'm just going to put some small holes in the top of this as well. One to go into front view here, and let's press Shift D to add an array modifier, press our full screen button, and we'll use this to increase the distance between each one of these. So something like this, press Shift D again, and we'll just have 5 of these. I'll press G to grab, middle mouse to constrain, get this a little bit more even. Then let's press cut out. And once again, that was closer to the tower. I forgot, which you'd think I would have learned that after that. So let's press Control Z to undo that. So to make sure that this cuts out of the wall, we shift select the wall and then press cut out. And so we get that nice cut there. And then just press apply on that. And sweet, we have a nice little beginning to a castle tower type thing really quickly with our awesome fun shape tools. So these shape tools are super awesome at quickly modeling and designing things, but they're really more for hard surface modeling because most of the time there's no guarantee that doing such radical changes to your mesh will hold up when you say add a bevel modifier. So, looks kind of shoddy there. We would probably want to do some mesh cleanup or retopology if we wanted to take a lot of this much further. So I'll press X to undo that bevel there. But a good quick solution for getting smooth results with stuff you build with these shape tools. So say for instance, if I were to select this tower here and press smooth, that doesn't exactly look really great. But if under add modifier, we add an edge split modifier, we can get some really nice smooth shading by using that. Of course, once you have an edge split modifier on there, that's really about as far as it goes in terms of adding modifiers to it because of the way the edge split modifier works. And we can adjust this value to try to get, better smoothing. Or I could come over here, add an edge split there, add some smoothing to that as well. Real quick, just before we go for kicks, I want to see, I'm going to go ahead and press full screen button. I want to see what using an intersect on this sphere over this wall will look like. So all I do is once I've added the sphere, I press intersect, and this will affect whatever is closest to it, which was this wall. And whoa, that actually looks really cool. So yeah, you never know what kind of effects and really awesome designs you can discover using these shape tools. And even if the mesh isn't perfect after you're done using them, sometimes just the ability to brainstorm in this way is a huge asset in terms of modeling and creation and stuff like that. And until next time, hope you have fun designing and building some cool stuff.